Right, staying on non-league news, I want to talk about #United, man. They've
Yep.
lost 2 big players, man. They're 2 poster boys.
Yeah.
Saka-san's going on to chase full-time football. Can't fault that. Shout out to Saka-san, doing bits in Baller League. And then also Josh Asude, you know, signed for Woking, pro
Big
ball.
baller.
So my question to you is, like, how do #United go on from here? Because they spent quite a few seasons at this level.
Yeah.
They've not done
How can they
back-to-backs.
kick on, kind of?
Yeah.
I would say it's less about the club and more now about the management of the team. Because I don't think # will ever really struggle to recruit good players. They're in a situation which is quite different to other clubs in the sense that they are well known. Somehow they are a bigger club than pretty much every other team in the league.
Yeah.
In terms of reputation, they are slowly but surely building a history at the club now. They're building a foundation. They're building a history that goes beyond their roots, which was just grassroots and Sundays. It's now come into something completely one of its own. And they've had tough moments. They've survived them. Again, the guys that are running the club are doing a good job. I think now it's more to do with how the team evolves. You can't replace those players necessarily off the rip. I think we said it at the start. You lose a Trent doesn't mean you sign a Trent.
Yeah.
You have to find new ways to be successful. I think they might need to evolve slightly with regards to how they play. But otherwise, I think it's more to do with what happens on that pitch now, because the reputation of the club is second to none. It's a great environment to be around. I know some players that play there. I know of one or two of the guys that are a part of the coaching staff, and I've met them a few times, and I think they're good people. This is a good environment. I think sometimes you just have, I'm not going to say you plateau, but you get to a point and you need to find stability there. Then you go and you catapult and you go up again. And I think now is that time for them to try to start pushing again. Do they need to make the budget bigger? I think their budget's good enough. Do they need a new manager or a new coaching staff? No, I think they're good enough. They've proved that. Do they need to recruit better players? Maybe in key areas down the spine of the team.
Yeah.
Less injuries. I think they are in a better position. I think they're on the verge of maybe pushing forwards. But this is, like most clubs have these make or break moments. It's like they either push on now or they risk becoming complacent with where they are.
Yeah.
And they start to, season on season, the levels start to drop.
Because they've been in this situation before. They've had like Jermaine Francis there when he left, and now he's killing it at Barnet.
Yeah.
Teniola, that same season there. Obviously, Piqué Humble's there as well. You know, big baller as well.
Infinitely talented.
But they've been in this situation before. I just feel like now it comes to a time where they need to kick on. Like they've plateaued for a season or two.
Yep.
And now they need to kick on again in order to be taken seriously and kind of reach the heights of like, you know, Wrexham, for example. Because again, otherwise they get surpassed. Like look at Farnham Town, for example.
Yep.
They've tried to emulate that same model in terms of the online presence and all the rest of it now. And they're kicking on and they're catching them up now.
Yep.
So they could be left in the dark, basically, like, you know, at that same level where, they're just the online team that films games, whereas they want to be seen as more than that.
I think they've actually, this is just my feeling, I feel like they've moved away from just being an online team. I think they've for me, they are now solidly a well-respected football club.
Yeah,
and they
rightfully
should be.
so.
And they should be. I think for #, at really critical moments, they've had big injuries for some of their best players for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Piqué was out for how long?
Quite a while.
Let's get this right. He's probably the best player in that league, or one of the best players in that league. One of the best players outside of professional football.
Yeah. At least one of the most noticeable, again, like from a market standpoint. Let's not, you know, underestimate that at all.
No, listen, I think non-league gets a bad rap because people see probably from sort of step 6s and step 7s and they see the dog shit. Step 3, there are proper players there.
Yeah.
Like proper players there. Even step 5, there are proper players there. You can't lose a Piqué Humble and not feel that void. Yeah, you know, and feel what he brings when it's not there.
Yeah.
Know? Sorry, I'm struggling to articulate myself. So, like any club, it's hard. You can't have 2 Piqué Humbles. You can't have so many of the best players. There's only room for 1 or 2 in the squad, and the rest of them, they'll all be strong in their own right. But when you lose a player of that ability or that importance, and not just PK but in other positions as well, it's really hard for you to continue to be successful in football matches. You're going to have a dip. How does that affect the rest of your season? Well, it has a massive effect, because if you don't pick up 3 points here, you don't pick up a point there, instead you've drawn. So potentially what should have been 3, 6, 9 points, you've ended up with 2 points, and that's the beauty of football, is because that's the dynamic, that's what can happen.
Yeah.
And we know the stars aren't always going to align for you, but I feel like as if they can just get a good run of fitness with their best players, I think we'll see them challenge. Potentially they could go up. But if you really want to drive, I know I said I don't feel like as if they need to increase the budget, but they might need to encourage 1 or 2 from the level above to drop down.
Yeah.
To really just kind of, even if they have 2 or 3 injuries, doesn't matter. We've got A, B, and C. So, and I think if they can do that, and they can also tweak, not change, but tweak 1 or 2 things that they do on the pitch, I think they will just go from that to that. And that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Because they're a good club.
Especially with their pulling power as well, man.
Yes.
Like, with all of that social media presence and all the rest of it now, it should be a case of like, basically they can recruit pretty much anyone.
Yeah.
You know, within reason. With that being said now, they've set the blueprint for a lot of teams switching from Sunday League to non-league, and one of them being Under the Radar. So Under the Radar now, they put out a documentary about a month or 2 ago saying that they're in talks, or been in talks, trying to switch from Sunday League to non-league.
Yeah.
We are thinking about doing what you've already done, essentially, in terms of going into non-league with hashtag. And you've done it really well, of course.
I knew this day would come.
And it's look, I'll keep suggesting it, you keep suggesting it. It's the right way to go about it, because SC Dons have done it, hashtag have done it, and at Sunday League, no disrespect to Sunday League, I love Sunday League, you love it as well. There's that ceiling where you kind of get there and you're like, what else can we do now? We've won the league, we've won the cup. No, what else do we do?
Yeah.
Is that the right choice for them?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
They've already reached the pinnacle of Sunday football. What more do they need to do?
They won the first SFL league. They won previous leagues before. You know.
Listen, they're a good team, again, run by good people, trying to be positive, trying to be an influence in their community. I feel like if you're not trying to progress, you actually start to fall behind. So if you don't have those aspirations to be the best version of yourself as a club, as an individual, as a coaching staff, as a team, you end up actually going backwards. So they need to keep trying to grow. Otherwise, they're going to inevitably they'll end up imploded. So if we want to continue to see these good teams, we need to see them keep aiming for the stars. It's that simple. 2
things I want to pick up on and get your opinion on. In their documentary, they was giving reference to all the previous teams that have come before them in Sunday League, and they missed out SC Dons.
From there, we were kind of like the catalyst in a way for a lot of teams to follow suit. And yeah, Smith is like the first. Then obviously you have Spencer coming in with hashtag and what he did and where he's taken hashtag to. So yeah, there's a lot of inspo out there. There's a lot of people that are doing this now.
I don't know if that was cryptic or anything like that. I don't know, but
nothing is ever by mistake.
There you go. Okay. And then the next one is when Manny apparently went on holiday to Mexico, and they was going through the talks about non-league and doing all the rest of it now. They had the opportunity, Apple, to buy Forest Hill Park.
Following being rejected access into the league by the FA, there was an opportunity that brought itself about. This was to buy another existing football club in the football pyramid at step 6. However, at the time I was away in Mexico and I was not on the ground enough to try and sanction this decision to see if it was the right thing going forward. Following that, it seemed like the dream of going from Sunday League to semi-pro was all over. We don't know exactly what the future holds as of now, but one thing I will say is never say never.
And we know who Forest Hill Park is now, SC Dons. So, I just want your comments on both of those.
What can I say?
Snooze, you lose, basically.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you got to be in it to win it.
Yeah. If you were serious, regardless if you're in Mexico or not, if you're in Timbuktu,
you do it.
You make the call, innit?
Listen,
Manny, you got the money, man. Manny, you got the money. I know you got the money. Your money's not short, man. Come on.
If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to get it done. He obviously just didn't want it that much.
Because trying to do it the old-fashioned way of like going from step 7 upwards, it's long, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's long. It takes a lot of patience, and it's a big gamble because who's really going to want to give up playing step 5, step 4, step 3 to go and play in step 7? So
with all these teams.
Yeah, with all of the teams.
We've seen all the teams. Like SC Dons have lost players because they've gone from Sunday League to non-league.
Yep.
You know, Rising Boars lost players when they went from Sunday League to non-league. You know, Under the Radar could potentially do the same as well because you've got step 3 ballers that are just, you know, taking it easy on a Sunday. But when your Sunday team goes to non-league now, are you going to give up that £200, £300 a week that you've been getting at step 3?
And this is a conversation that I remember having with a few people. Where they're like, oh, let me not. Let me not. You know what? This is a part of the dynamic that you have to deal with as a club. There you go.
Is that who you're giving?
Yeah, it's a part of the dynamic you have to deal with as a club.